In the realm of human experience, few forces rival the transformative power of love. Yet when love encounters obstacles, as it inevitably will, we often find ourselves at a crossroads, to persevere or to abandon our path. The Stoic philosophers, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, offer wisdom that transcends their ancient origins, providing guidance for those contemplating surrender in matters of the heart. This discourse examines love's challenges through the Stoic lens, not to cling desperately to what must end, but to ensure that our decisions stem from wisdom rather than reactive emotion. Before you give up on her, consider these reflections on love's nature, your control, virtue, and the perspective that only philosophical inquiry can provide. Section 1. Distinguish between what you can and cannot control. The cornerstone of Stoic philosophy rests on a simple yet profound distinction. Some things are within our control, while others are not. In love, this principle offers essential clarity. You cannot control her feelings, her choices, or the circumstances that challenge your relationship. You can, however, control your judgments, your responses, and your virtues as they manifest in your relationship. Before abandoning hope, examine what lies within your sphere of influence. Have you communicated with clarity and courage? Have you demonstrated the virtues you claim to value? Have you separated your emotional reactions from the objective facts of your situation? The Stoic does not exhaust himself trying to change what cannot be changed, but neither does he withdraw effort from what can be influenced through virtuous action. Remember Epictetus' words, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." If the relationship can be preserved through your virtuous effort, then that effort is worthy, regardless of outcome. If it cannot, then acceptance of this reality is not defeat but wisdom. Section 2. Examine your judgments about the situation. Our suffering in love rarely stems from events themselves but from our judgments about these events. When she is distant, is it truly catastrophic, or have you assigned this meaning? When conflict arises, does it signal inevitable failure, or is this interpretation your own creation? The Stoic practitioner pauses to question his judgments. What narratives have you constructed around your relationship's challenges? Are these narratives serving truth, or are they serving fear, insecurity, or pride? Relationships rarely collapse from a single blow. Rather, they erode under the weight of accumulated judgments that transform manageable difficulties into insurmountable obstacles. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Before surrendering to despair, examine whether your pain originates in reality or in your interpretation of reality. Section 3. Practice Amor Fati, love of fate. The Stoic concept of Amor Fati, to love one's fate, offers powerful medicine for the wounded heart. This does not mean passive resignation to suffering, but rather a profound acceptance of reality as it unfolds. Whatever happens in your relationship exists now as part of the immutable past or the unfolding present. Resistance to this reality only multiplies suffering. If the relationship is truly ending, can you find the courage to accept this fate not merely with resignation but with appreciation for what was given? Can you recognize that even pain serves your development as a human being capable of virtue? The love that ends still offered lessons, joy, and opportunities for growth that would not have existed otherwise. Nietzsche, though not a Stoic, captured this sentiment perfectly. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Before turning away from love's difficulties, consider whether accepting them fully might transform both you and the relationship itself. Section 3. Practice Amor Fati, love of fate. The Stoic concept of Amor Fati, to love one's fate, offers powerful medicine for the wounded heart. This does not mean passive resignation to suffering, but rather a profound acceptance of reality as it unfolds. Whatever happens in your relationship exists now as part of the immutable past or the unfolding present. Resistance to this reality only multiplies suffering. If the relationship is truly ending, can you find the courage to accept this fate not merely with resignation but with appreciation for what was given? Can you recognize that even pain serves your development as a human being capable of virtue? The love that ends still offered lessons, joy, and opportunities for growth that would not have existed otherwise. Nietzsche, though not a Stoic, captured this sentiment perfectly. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Before turning away from love's difficulties, consider whether accepting them fully might transform both you and the relationship itself. Section 5. Contemplate the impermanence of all things. All relationships, even lifelong ones, eventually end. The Stoic practice of memento mori, remember death, extends beyond our mortality to the temporary nature of all we cherish. This contemplation, rather than darkening love, infuses it with precious urgency and appreciation. If you knew with certainty that this relationship would end next year, would you treat today's challenges differently? Would you speak more kindly, listen more attentively, or forgive more readily? The awareness of impermanence clarifies what truly matters, stripping away petty concerns that often dominate relationship conflicts. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Before abandoning what you once treasured, contemplate whether you've loved with the full awareness that all things, including love itself, are temporary gifts rather than permanent possessions. Section 6. Practice the view from above. The Stoic exercise of the view from above invites us to step back and consider our situation from a cosmic perspective. Imagine viewing your relationship struggles from high above, from the perspective of years hence, or even from the vast expanse of universal time and space. From this elevated viewpoint, how significant are the issues threatening your bond? Will they matter in 5 years? In 20? At life's end? This practice doesn't diminish genuine problems, but it does contextualize them, revealing which challenges warrant serious attention and which may be magnified by temporary emotion. Marcus Aurelius practiced this regularly. Survey the circling stars, as though yourself were in mid-course with them. Before deciding that love cannot endure, practice this cosmic perspective. It may reveal that what seemed unbearable in the moment is manageable within life's greater journey. Section 7. Recognize the difference between love and attachment. Stoicism distinguishes between genuine love and possessive attachment. Love seeks the good of the beloved and finds joy in their flourishing, whether or not that flourishing includes us. Attachment demands reciprocation, control, and the fulfillment of our expectations. Examine your pain honestly. Does it stem from threat to her well-being, or threat to your desires? Are you mourning the potential loss of what's best for her, or the loss of what you wanted from her? True love remains concerned with virtue and the beloved's good, even when the relationship itself is threatened. Epictetus teaches, "What harms the bee harms the hive." In authentic love, her genuine good and yours cannot be separated. Before concluding that love is lost, distinguish between the pain of love and the pain of attachment. One guides us toward wisdom, the other binds us to suffering. Section 8. Seek clarity through rational discourse. The Stoics valued rational discourse as a path to truth. When relationship difficulties arise, emotion often clouds judgment, making private rumination unreliable. Seek counsel from those who will challenge your thinking rather than merely validate your current perspective. Speak openly with trusted friends who exemplify wisdom. Consider the guidance of relationship counselors trained to identify patterns invisible to those caught within them. Most importantly, attempt honest communication with her about the fundamental issues, not the symptoms, threatening your connection. Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Before deciding that resolution is impossible, ensure you've engaged in genuine rational discourse about the relationship, both with her and with those whose wisdom you trust. Section 9. Practice negative visualization. The Stoic exercise of premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, involves visualizing potential negative outcomes to diminish their power and prepare the mind for adversity. Applied to relationships, this practice can reduce fear-based decisions while revealing possible solutions. Visualize fully. What would life actually look like if the relationship ended? Beyond the initial pain, how would daily existence unfold? What strengths would you need to develop? What opportunities might emerge? This visualization isn't meant to accelerate separation but to remove the terror of uncertainty that often drives impulsive choices. Simultaneously, visualize what continued commitment might require. What changes would be necessary? What comforts might need sacrifice? What growth might be demanded? Before choosing any path, understand clearly what lies along each route, free from both unfounded fears and unrealistic hopes. Section 10. Remember that courage is not the absence of fear. The Stoic virtue of courage has been misunderstood as emotional detachment or the absence of fear. In truth, courage means acting in alignment with virtue despite fear. In relationships, courage manifests as vulnerability when pride urges withdrawal, as honest communication when silence seems safer, as commitment when doubt whispers retreat. Whatever you decide regarding your relationship, ensure the decision reflects courage rather than its absence. The courageous choice is not always to persist. Sometimes wisdom clearly indicates that paths must diverge. But courage demands that this conclusion come from clear-eyed virtue rather than from fear of pain, rejection, or the difficult work of growth. Seneca reminds us, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Before determining that love has reached its end, ask whether your decision emerges from courage facing forward or fear turning away. The Stoic path offers no guarantee that relationships can be preserved, nor does it promise that separation will be painless. What it offers instead is far more valuable, the possibility of approaching love's difficulties with wisdom rather than reactivity, with courage rather than fear, with virtue as our North Star. Before you give up on her, give yourself the gift of philosophical examination. Question your judgments, focus on what you can control, act from virtue rather than emotion, and view your circumstances from the widest possible perspective. Whether the relationship ultimately continues or concludes, this approach ensures that your choice emerges from wisdom rather than from the temporary storm of emotion. The Stoics understood that life's greatest challenges, love among them, offer our most profound opportunities for growth. Whatever path you choose, let it be one that transforms difficulty into development, leading not merely to relationship decisions you can live with, but to a life of virtue you can be proud of.